Hey, what's up? It's me, Awesome Alley.
And I'm Raisa, and welcome back to another episode of the Be in the Conversation series.
Woo!
Have you ever thought about how the media plays a role in your life, but also in society? Well, today we are here with one of our authors, Angie Ibrahim, who's going to be talking to us about exactly that. Please welcome Angie.
Woo!
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, so Angie, as always, we always start off with one question on our show, and that is, who are you and what do you do?
Of course. My name is Angie Ibrahim. I am 16 years old and I'm a student. What do? I write. So I'm an author of Be in the Conversation. I inspire and I create.
Oh, inspire, write, and create. I love that. In 3 sentences, could you tell us what your chapter is about?
Yes, of course. So my chapter is specifically about the media and how it impacts us and how it impacts everyone else around us in our society. So I just think it's so important to discuss this because the media is everywhere. It's right at our fingertips. It's basically in our face everywhere we turn. And I just think it's so important to not only discuss like what's good about it, but also there can be negative things about it. And then what are some solutions?
Spot on.
I really love that. Thank you. Because you know what? You look at the media and you think that, yeah, there are lots of bad sides to it, but then you also look at the solutions and know that there are really great things about having the media. And it's more than just awareness, but it's about the actions that you take and, leaving your digital footprint and, where you walk all over the place. So what are some ways that the media has affected our society?
Yeah, so of course the media has done like so much for us. I'm not going to sit here and say like the media is absolutely terrible because it's not. Like the reason we are where we are today in society is because people gained a platform and people started spreading awareness. There's more equality, and that is because of the media and because we were able to use our voice. But then like my whole thing is that there's boundaries, there's limits. You have to understand like how far you can really push it, because on the flip side, sometimes we see the wrong things, or sometimes things are kind of misinterpreted when we look at something. We don't read the full story. And I just feel like it's really important for us to understand that, which is why I want to talk about it in my chapter.
I like that. I like how you gave acknowledgement, how the media does do good stuff in our society. We're just making you aware. This interview is about making you aware of of how it affects you in your day-to-day life. So, Angie, what got you thinking about this in the first place? Like, what brought up the idea of, damn, the media might be influencing me in this way?
Yeah, so I love social media. Like, I'm not even going to deny that. Like, when I'm bored, when I want to know about something, I just turn to social media. And, some days it's like I want to be on it for hours and I really enjoy just watching YouTube or talking to my friends. But then it really got me wondering, like, why can something be so impactful in a positive way? But then the next day I find myself just like crying for hours because I see something on social media and I'm like, okay, like now I'm comparing myself to people again. And that's why I'm like, why is it like this? Like, what is the algorithm? And that really got me thinking. So I wanted to share my thoughts with everyone else.
And you kind of talked about comparing yourself. Is that to people on social media? Is that something you've always dealt with? Is it new? How has that affected you?
Yeah. Honestly, like I think I got my first social media app when I was 10. I think that was Instagram. So before that, my childhood was like pretty okay. I was just watching TV, like whatever. And then I got social media. And then I think things shifted when I was a teenager. And I think I started comparing myself to a lot of other girls and a lot of people's lifestyles. But then I kind of have to like dial it back and understand that everyone has full control over what they post. Whether we're reading an article, that person who published that article had full control over every single word that's there. And also like social media, people who post photos, they have control over the editing, the Photoshop, whatever goes in that photo is not necessarily reality. So that's something I really had to kind of sit back and think, and I want other people to do that as well.
Interesting. There's actually a great documentary to our viewers here on this exact topic about how social media influences you. It's called Social Dilemma on Netflix. Definitely give it a give it a chance, watch it. It's very eye-opening, and it talks about the same thing, which you just said, how you kind of had that normal childhood, and then social media came along, because social media was not designed for children, right? It was designed to keep people engaged, make sure you keep scrolling, right, with those different likes and stuff, to keep you engaged, not built for that child to compare, bring people together, but in doing so, make sure you keep scrolling. So it's like that. It's become pretty much a drug to us, a digital drug to keep us constantly engaged and, wanting more. So just quickly, we're going to give a shout out to Latifa here. Thank you for joining us.
Miss Celeste is on Instagram, so thank you for joining us. There was another thing that you kind of said, and I really like that. And just, what are the effects of social media on our mental health? And, how do you describe it in your chapter? Like, do you have pillars? Do you have points? Can you give us a little more insight as to what our readers are reading?
Or could explain?
Yeah, of course. So basically, I break down my chapter into political opinions, and then in the mental health realm, I talk about mental health and body image sort of combined. And I think with mental health, what we do is like I said, we compare ourselves. And that has been like the worst thing we could ever do for our mental health, or even just being stuck on our screens for hours and not getting any actual time off the screen with people in real life. That has affected our mental health so much. So I talk about this stuff, and then body image, advertising has affected our mental health so bad, because we always see this one ideal body type, and that has been the worst as well. So I talk about this, and then sort of solutions. I was kind of just thinking, if this happens, don't be afraid of deleting an app for a while. For example, the past couple of weeks, my TikTok For You page has been horrible, body image, eating disorders. It's really been horrible. It's been horrible. And it's just crazy how this algorithm works. And I deleted TikTok for a bit because I was I don't want to see this. It affects me a lot. So I think having that awareness helps.
Yeah, and you know what? Thank you for sharing that as well, because I can totally relate to that, where there are sometimes I'll look on my Instagram Explore page, and then I look at some of the posts on the algorithm of what they show, and it's just constant. That algorithm will showcase, you could look at something sad for one post, and then it shows up all over on your feed, and you're I just wanted to see it once, not 100 times. I think would be something that would be really beneficial is if you could have a reset to the algorithm. So you don't necessarily have to delete the app, but you can just reset whatever your searches are, and not necessarily deleting it, but a chance, when you first sign up,
cache.
yeah, no, when you first sign up and it tells you what kind of categories you want to see, something like that, because then I think it would help in your mental health. For example, if you're seeing body image all the time and you're no, I just want to see cats now, you have to look up cats and then and save and save and save till it resets your algorithm. So I think that would be one great solution there. But
I think with that though, you kind of can do that. If you having these bringing up you said sad posts and stuff, the ways you can reset the algorithm, tell me if I'm wrong here, Angie, or kind of switch what you're doing, is by looking up the opposite end of the thing, or a different thing where you do have to put in the effort and the work, to get those different changes to it.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. If it could be a little bit easier if it's just reset algorithm. But yeah, and what?
I don't think they would do that. It's because that's behind it is money.
Well, yeah,
right?
Of course, marketing and how when you
that's a very far one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably gonna take a while for that to happen. You just gotta flood your searches, and honestly, it's scary because on Instagram, if you search up something and you think it just has to do with Instagram, you just see ads on YouTube, Snapchat that has to do with the same exact thing. And it's just okay, so I kind of can't dissociate one social media platform because they're all connected. It's just crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Share
it's
that data.
Exactly. As soon as you get off, it knows when you're off as well.
It's interesting. There's the quote, from the documentary that I recommended, The Social Dilemma, that says, if the product is free, then you are the product. And that's pretty much it. Right now, that's collecting the data to be able to create that algorithm. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. There was a country, I can't remember. It's a European country that actually started telling their Instagram influencers that if they edited their body in any way, they actually have to put like a trademark at the bottom of their pictures now, showing that this photo has been edited. And it's like you look at hi Vonera, she's on Instagram. You look at the comments under that like news post, and it's like everybody's saying like, oh my god, Instagram influencers' lives are over now because there's so much Photoshop. But I think that's so beneficial now. There are some Instagram influencers I look at, and they're open. They're so open to say like, hey, this is what I use to Photoshop this and that. But then you forget about it and you look back at their picture and you're like, wow, I think it's real. But you know what? Those are different things. So do you, like, Angie, I just want to ask, do you think that seeing the best things in Instagram, does it hurt them or does it heal them? Like,
does it hurt them more than it helps them?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it depends what you mean by the best things on Instagram, because if you're seeing like the best of people's lifestyles or the happiest people are, then yes, that will affect you more than it will benefit you, because it makes people like kind of think that this person's life is only happy all the time. Like, because on Instagram, you're posting the highlights of your day. On Snapchat, you're posting the highlights. Like, not a lot of people want to share what's really going on in their lives. And it's kind of affected people in a way where it's like, okay, that's reality. Their life is always perfect. Why can't my life be perfect? When that's not really what it is. So I think it's really important, like, you know, try to be open on social media. Just try to be yourself. Like, don't post like things that are like highly edited, you know, if it comes to your body or anything. Just like, yeah, yourself. So that's always like my thing.
Yeah, I love that. And Vonera actually is adding to our conversation. Thank you, Vonera. She says on Instagram, I think there's a huge difference between changing the beauty and enhancing the beauty. I like that a lot.
What do you think about that, Angie?
I think that's true. I think there's a huge difference. Like, you know, changing yourself completely or changing something about your body, like it's really like impactful to people, like young teenagers who are having issues with like body image. It really hurts. But enhancing the beauty, if you're like looking at a post and the brightness is edited, or like, you know, like the contrast is edited, like that's fine. Like, just like you want to make your picture look better in that sense, but that's completely separate from changing you as your physical appearance. So yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, and it's interesting that you bring this up. So there's a new thing, kind of, okay, one actually thing, changing your body, that there's a whole industry for that. It's now plastic surgery, right? There's the new, you know, the guy that just blew up who said he's finally Korean after doing like spending like $10 million on his self to change completely the way he looked, you know, to fit a different, you know, culture, right? And I find that crazy. Like, how could you spend so much? And he doesn't even look real at that point, you know. It just looks like a piece of plastic doll. But you know, if that makes you happy, I guess that's what it is, right? Not in the spot to judge, right? But I'm curious, what do you think of the new kind of trend going on where people are trying to do body positivity, which I think is great, but then that transfers into fat phobia now. You know, there's two different things: body positivity, and then there's fat phobia. I want to get your thoughts on those two things going around now.
Okay. Well, first of all, like, just to add on to the plastic surgery really quickly, what I think is that, like, people, if you want to do that and if that makes you happy, I'm not going to be against it. Like, go do that if that's going to make you feel more confident. But then also, like, if people are going to ask you about it, like, don't try and hide it, because I have seen celebrities who are like, oh no, I've done nothing. But then that's like also harmful, because it's like, you're not being honest about it, right? Like, at least be honest if that's what you want to do. Yeah. And then body positivity, there's this whole thing going like around on social media where it's like, can you be body positive or is it body neutral? Like, toxic positivity is so bad, because basically what that culture is telling you is that you could only see your body as one thing. Like, we tell people, don't look at yourself as in a negative way. Like, don't look at yourself and say, oh, I'm fat, like I hate my body. So why do we expect people to always look at themselves in a positive way as well? Like, there needs to kind of be that thing where it's like it's okay to look at ourselves a little negatively sometimes because that's normal, that's who we are, but it's how we react, it's how we bounce back. And I think that's the whole thing, the neutrality versus the positivity. So I think that's really important. Yeah.
No, I agree, and I also disagree to a point, because I think the intentions of body, like for any movement or trend, the intentions are pretty pure at the beginning, but when you're mass producing different TikToks, IG Reels, content creation, I think that's where it gets skewed a lot, and a lot of people are picking the pieces of what's there. But the whole thing with the body positivity movement is you're trying to spread awareness that there are different types of bodies. I was going to say body parts.
Yeah.
Bodies, right? And leg, ankle. But it just comes back down to the judgment of how we judge others and our way of like cyberbullying or texting or commenting. And I think I see a lot of influencers now who are just trying to say, I just want the space to be myself. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to do my thing on, my big thing on body image is you're very unique. For you to be healthy is for you to fit your body size. So I don't believe in somebody who's super fat going to like super skinny. I believe that if you're in the middle and that's your medium and you shape up a little, you get a little muscle here and there and you're healthy, that's fine. Or if you're super skinny, I don't expect you to go back to like being this really nice thick girl. You work out and you get healthy to what your body weight is, your body size, your height and everything. You're laughing. So I know you have something to say.
I got something to say with that. Actually, there's two things I'm going to touch upon. So what my thing with the body positivity movement, like you said, it starts out great, right? Everything starts out with a great intention, but like my sister said, once it starts getting mass produced and you give freedom to people to, create the different contents and stuff, it gets skewed because not everybody fully understands it, right? They just think everything is okay. My problem here is with the current social media realm of, how it's been portrayed is where people are saying, okay, you know what? It's okay to be 600 pounds and continue to with your way of life. Me personally, I disagree with that so much. If you're at that point in your life or even over 400 pounds at that point in your life and you're saying, okay, you know what? My lifestyle is perfect. I got nothing to change. That's where I'd cross the line. If you're 400 pounds, but you can acknowledge where you've gone wrong and you're willing and you're moving towards, sorry, it's shaking the camera, and you're moving towards, making a change in your life, but you're recognizing where you've gone wrong, but you're being comfortable in your body, but making change, I support you. But if you're going to say I've gotten nothing to change and maintain your lifestyle, that's where that's where I cross the line. Because I've seen that too much, and that's where I'm like, this is where it's going wrong, because then you got the yes people who've just been photocopied and saying the same response like, yes, you're doing great, stay the same way. And then there's the thing of double standards where there's female body positivity and then male body positivity. There's two different things. One accepts. It's interesting, especially on the female side, where a girl, let's say they work out and they take care of themselves. What I've seen on social media now is they'll downgrade that girl saying, oh, you're just doing this for this and whatever. And a person who, let's say to society, maybe not the same, right? A little less pretty, I'm going to say that, right? If I use the wrong word, I'm sorry if that offends you, right? But maybe bigger in certain areas too, right? They'll raise her up to make her feel good. And I think that's where it's going wrong. It's where you have double standards for different people and then different genders and stuff too. And then one other thing that you said.
Don't get into gender.
Okay, with different sexes or whatever.
You're like all over the place right now.
One other thing that I wanted to touch upon is there's the new bill that just got passed in Ontario, I believe, or Canada, where it now gives the government authority to kind of monitor social media.
It didn't pass.
It
didn't pass. Yeah, no, I saw that too. Yeah.
Okay. But I was curious, what's your thoughts on that then, of, like the government stepping into social media?
Well, first explain it. So, Angie, you know what it is, right? The one we're talking about.
Yeah, I honestly, okay, so when I saw it, I know it didn't get passed, but what I did see is that the government wanted to monitor what we post. So if like, you know, for example, TikTok has the community guidelines and your video will get taken down, but that's just TikTok. But this is actually including the government now. So the government has control over like what, like, you know, if they want to take your video down, if they don't think it's appropriate, they think it's harmful. Obviously, it's not to the extreme where like other countries, like their governments don't even allow people to have these apps, or like it's very, very filtered. But it was sort of just like, yeah, like just monitor the use. And like a lot of people were against it. The bill didn't get passed. But I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think anything really needs to involve the government, because that could also lead to like information that is kind of censored, or information that they could hide from us. And I just feel like I think it should just stay the way it is personally. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Of course. And like, I also want to add to the other side of that, because there was that one side. So if you look on like global news and you look up the bill, I can't remember what the bill is called right now, but the intention,
or something.
Yeah, but the intention of the bill was because in Ontario, in London, there was a terrorist attack where this man mowed down a Muslim family, and they wanted to enact this bill to monitor the hate comments and find people just like him to prevent a future attack. So it wasn't necessarily for just hate speech or like, oh, you're ugly, blah, 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 you're a loser. It wasn't for that. It was monitoring those who will go to the extreme of threatening somebody's life. Yeah. Right? Or even having like hate speech and hate crime, because we do have rights that if somebody is, you know, performing a hate crime or threatening you, you could charge them. Right. And I think that was more of the intention, which I appreciated, because, you know, there's a certain line that crosses where social media, you're even seeing it with the big social media companies now, where they can hide whatever they want. They can hide whatever political view they want. So they're having more control than our government ourselves. So I just want to add that side and that intention, that it's not just taking away your free speech to say, hey, go gain some weight or whatever. It's a threat on your life and your safety. Yeah. So
that leads perfectly into the next question.
Yeah, it actually does. So what is the power of educating? So Angie, what is the power of educating yourself on topics before going on social media, or even reposting or commenting or even saving and sharing it somewhere else?
Yeah. So basically when it comes to this, we're playing around with two of the most powerful things you can have to convey a message. And that's number one, your voice and your words. And number two, a platform. Once you have one of those two things, or even both of them, which is literally social media, your opinion is so powerful and influential. And I don't think people realize the importance of that. And I think that if you don't educate yourself, one of two things could happen. One, you could either post because you're seeing a bunch of people do it, and then someone replies to your story and someone's like, oh, I want to talk about this with you. Then you have nothing to back it up. You don't know why you agree with what you're agreeing with. You don't know why you posted it. And it just becomes this whole issue. Or two, you post something without educating yourself, and people are like, what are they talking about, or what are they standing for? And now that's obviously not something that you should be standing for. And I'm not saying that like people like are always going to agree with you, but I'm just saying if it's something that's like maybe not that great to be posting, but you don't know the full story to back it up, then that's obviously very bad. So I think that just educating yourself, and if you're going to stand for something, stand behind it fully. I think that's the most important thing you could do.
I love that. Very powerful message as well. And sorry, I was just going to like, I've actually seen people repost old news stories, like things that have been like from 5 years ago, and you see it on their story and you're like, did you not even like read the caption, or did you not follow up with it? And it's like, sometimes it's a little embarrassing, and you just got to be like, hey, maybe you should actually look it up before you do it. And you have like people in the comments that are like, this was 5 years ago, what are you doing? I love reading comments on social media.
Comments me too.
Oh my god, they're so entertaining. Yeah, and you get more information out of the comments than like the caption or the post. Exactly.
Because like I said, go ahead, Angie.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say the one account that's the funniest. I think we all follow it. It's Six Buzz. Their comments, I die every single time I read them. It's so funny.
the things people say. I didn't even know people like that exist till you read the comments.
Those because they give like the different perspective, and they make especially when there's like serious times, and then there's just like random news article and stuff, and the post like it gives some enjoyment to that again, reading those comments. But yeah, when it comes to political stuff, I'm that type of person that if I kind of disagree with you, I'll reply to your story. I want to see like, okay, like what's your perspective on this? I want to understand it. And also I'll do my research into it. Like I won't just like repost something if I haven't looked into it enough, because when there are certain political things that are going on right now that I personally don't agree with, that I do the research into it after, okay, and then I understand it that much more, rather than someone just doing a post and blaming it on one specific thing without actually understanding, everything else. They'll pinpoint a narrative that they want to portray, to kind of push that, and that's where I was like, come on, you got to read this. That's not actually what's been going on. And this leads perfectly into the next question, which is, what's your opinion on the media and how it actually changes our political perspectives?
Well, the media definitely is like a huge thing for our political opinions. Like the media comes in so many forms, like even the news, that's the media. And that's something that we've all really had, like newspapers or certain channels. That's what we had before social media. And like, back in the days in Canada, like in the early 1900s, like there were restrictions on the media. And it was like before the press released anything, the government had to approve. And that's where like a lot of news got lost, that people wanted to say things, but they couldn't. And like, things like that happened back then. But then now it's the complete opposite. Like we have like everything we could possibly have to form opinions. And it's great and all, but also it creates a divide. And I just feel like people don't really listen to each other now. People are a little bit ignorant. Once they form an opinion, it's like, that's it. I'm not listening to anyone else. And that's kind of what we need to change, in my opinion.
I really like that. And you know what it is? I think it's also the lack of respect as well. Just like how you were saying the ignorance, it's the lack of respect between actually communicating people, because again, the algorithm on any social media app is very aggressive. So if you pick one side, it's going to continue to show you that one side. There was one TikTok where, and I respect all LGBTQ plus people. There was one TikTok where this girl was standing in front of the flag, and she was like, what did you sacrifice for your flag?
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that, right? What did you, and this is the American flag and behind, right? What did you sacrifice to get your flag?
And it's like,
that's so embarrassing and ignorant, because then it sticks together with an army veteran from America, and he's showing off his medals and this, and he's like lost some friends, went through 2 divorces, and you see things like that and you're like, that's ignorant, it's disrespectful, and it's just embarrassing for you to even post that. And then that gives a bad
rep to the whole community.
Yeah, it does, because
that's why actually you're right with those type of videos. That's that creates the more divide than what they're looking for, right? When you post those type of videos disregarding other people, right? When you're trying to be inclusive, right? Yes, okay, you went through the struggles and stuff, right? But then to disregard a whole other thing, and see what did you do, comparing yourself, that's when you start to lose more people's support, because now you're trying to say, okay, we're better than that. And then that's when that's what you said. People start to divide at that point, because then political opinions come in, and so like, no, okay, I respect your culture and whatever. I respect how you want to live your life, but don't tell me how to live mine, right? Don't try to force that opinion onto me, and don't disregard everything else that's happening, right? So you got something.
Yeah, I actually just want to show Angie, if you even want to like try this one out too. There's a new app. Oh, sorry, Instagram. There's a new app in the App Store. It's called Ground News, and basically what it does is, if you have a news article, it puts all different news sources in one. I know, sorry, Instagram, my hand is in the way.
What's it called? It's called Ground News. Yeah. Look it up. You can read it. Tell us what it is.
Sorry, I'm scrolling. There we go. Ground News. So it actually takes all news sources and put it in one. Like if you wanted to read about cats again, I don't know why cats,
Cat,
but
she's in the
cats
Yeah.
will show you like 4 different sources at one time for cats. Then you're like expanding your perspective. But Angie, this has been a really great conversation, and thank you so much for coming on.
Let's go quickly just do the speed round questions right now.
I'm not ending it off.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm not ending it off. Let's actually take a break for our speed round, and then we have one more question for you.
Yes. All right, Angie. So the speed round, we're gonna give you 2 options, like a would you or rather, and you tell us which one you like. Yeah, this or that. Thank you. This or that. Tell us which one you rather have. So starting in 3,
ding,
2,
ding,
1, go. Instagram or Snapchat?
Instagram.
TikTok or YouTube?
TikTok.
Netflix or Disney?
Disney.
Gotta go faster.
Movies or TV shows?
Oh, movies.
Ice cream or cake?
8,
Ice cream.
7,
and then breakfast or dinner?
6,
Dinner.
And the last one,
4,
beach or the city?
3, 2,
Beach.
1.
Okay, yay! The beach.
I love that.
God, I felt the stress at the end.
I know. Next time we have to have a timer. This was good.
Go.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1, go.
Go. So we actually do have a longtime listener and viewer here. His name is Wahid. He says, "May Allah bless you and your dear family." Amin, thank you. And that is for Angie as well, because she's our wonderful and beautiful guest and intelligent. And today is Taqwa Ahmed's birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Yes, also our cousin's birthday today.
Yes,
too.
twinsies.
So, Angie, the last question that we're gonna what?
Oh, sorry. I said there's so many July birthdays, especially this week. It's like there's so many.
Crazy. So we're gonna wrap it up with our favorite question that we love to ask our guests, and that is, if you could have a billboard anywhere in the world, where would it be and what would it say?
All right. Okay, so this is probably a classic answer, but I would say New York, because there's so many people who are gonna see it, and I feel like I can make a really huge impact there. What would I say? I think I would say be the change that you want to see in the world. And I feel like people have heard this a lot, but I feel like there's just so much more of a deeper meaning to it. Like, we often say that we want change, but don't really do anything about it. And personally, I think that it stems so much from us. Like, say our mental health isn't where we want it to be. Like, we can't fix that relying on anybody else. It really has to do with us. Like, yeah, external factors, socializing, maybe that could help us. But if we don't actually shift within ourselves, then that change isn't going to happen. And also, like, even if we're talking about not only ourselves, but with other people as well, if we don't really change our attitude towards certain things, if something bad happens and we look at it and we're like, I knew this would happen, it's horrible, I can't fix it. Instead, if we shift our attitude and we look at something bad that happened and we're like, okay, bad things happen, but how are we going to fix it? And what opportunity can I learn from it? Once we change that attitude, our behavior is going to change. And that is what we project to people. Once our behavior changes, then our actions are going to change. And that's what's going to make a difference. So I think that quote is really important for people to see.
Wow, I love that. And I know I said last thing, but can you give our audience at least, what's one thing they can start to do to, remove the media from influencing them as much as it does?
Remove media from influence.
Yeah. So my biggest word of advice when it comes to the media is don't eliminate it completely, because you will start to lose touch with things that are happening. Because we have a world that is, actually there and off the screen. But at the same time, our world is evolving so much and we do rely on technology for a lot of things. So don't just completely eliminate it. But if you are on social media, know your limits. If something's making you upset, why is it making you upset? Maybe you could follow different people. Like Raisa said, maybe try to change the algorithm, search a bunch of things up maybe, and hopefully different things will pop up. If you want to take a break, take a break. But just all those things. And most importantly, be yourself. The media is also an outlet for yourself. And I'm sure we all post here and there. Just be you. Don't feel like you need to change for anybody else, and don't feel pressured. If you want to do something that someone else isn't necessarily doing or agreeing with, just do what makes you happy and comfortable. And that's the biggest word of advice I could give anyone.
I love that. I love that.
I love it. Thank you so much. And Chloe is also watching as well. Thank you, Angie, and thank you to our viewers who have been on today. Today was actually a really great conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
Conversation.
Exactly.
Make sure to grab your Amazon copy on Amazon. Type in B in the conversation. You can grab the pre-order. Official launch date is this Monday, July 19th. So be ready. It's going to be amazing. Go to Amazon, grab your pre-order, and tell us. Send a picture. And we'll tag you the hashtag APSO, APSOW.
This was presented by APSO.
Awesome people.
Shaping our world.
Remember, you are awesome.
And you can make the world a better place.